Good evening, everyone. Today I will be discussing juvenile crime, an issue that affects communities, families, and the criminal justice system. Juvenile delinquency refers to criminal behavior committed by individuals under the age of 18. While juvenile crime rates have fluctuated over the years, it remains a significant concern, especially when considering the long-term social and economic consequences. In this presentation today, I will cover the scope of juvenile crime, the statistic trends that go with it, key factors contributing to the delinquencies, current policies and interventions, and also the research on effective solutions. Understanding juvenile crime includes offenses such as theft, vandalism, drug possession, gang violence, and violent crimes like assault and homicide. While some juveniles commit minor infractions, others engage in serious criminal activities that can lead to incarceration farther down the line. According to the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, juvenile accounts for approximately 7% of arrests in the U.S., with violent offenses making up around 15% of juvenile arrests. Historical trends show that juvenile crime rates peaked in the 1990s but have since declined by nearly 70% due to policy changes, early intervention programs, and also law enforcement strategies. However, certain crimes such as cybercrime and drug-related offenses have increased among juveniles in recent years. In 2020, over 700,000 juveniles were arrested in the United States. Violent crimes among juveniles decreased by approximately 38% between 2010 and 2020. Males account for approximately 70% of our juvenile arrests, though female delinquency has been rising. Black youth are disproportionately arrested, while still nearly making up 15% of the U.S. juvenile population. They represent nearly 40% of juvenile arrests, but that's because of gang involvement being a factor in about 30% of juvenile violent crimes. These statistics highlight disparities in the juvenile justice system and the need for targeted interventions. Causes of juvenile crime can include family influence, a lack of parental supervision, domestic violence, or even neglect can lead to delinquent behavior. Peer pressure in gangs. Gangs provide a sense of belonging, but they can also expose youth to criminal activities that can further along their delinquencies, concluding into their arrests. Socioeconomic statuses are mainly youth from low-income backgrounds who are more likely to engage in crime due to financial struggles and lack of opportunities from their families and or communities. Substance abuse and alcohol abuse are both the cause and consequences of juvenile crime. Mental health disorders are very increasing for our delinquent youths who suffer from untreated mental illnesses, which can also cause a likelihood of engaging in criminal behavior. All of these factors emphasize the need for early intervention and community-based support systems. The impact of juvenile crime affects individuals, families, and society in various ways. Youth offenders often face difficulties reintegrating into society, leading to cycles of crime. Family experience emotional and financial strain while dealing with legal fees, court appearances, and lost opportunities with their children while going through this process. Communities also suffer from higher crime rates, property damage, and increased policy costs. The economy is burdened with juvenile detention costs. The U.S. spends approximately $5 billion annually on youth incarceration. Long-term consequences of juvenile crime can include difficulty finding employment, lower educational attainment, and also increased likelihood of adult criminal behavior. The U.S. juvenile justice system is designed to rehabilitate rather than punish young offenders. The key component includes juvenile courts, which focus on rehabilitation through counseling and also community service rather than incarceration and locking them behind bars. We also have diversion programs, so instead of serving jail time, these juveniles are placed in programs aimed at behavior correction and also skill building activities. Juvenile detention centers are facilities that house young offenders but also provide educational rehabilitation services to help them along their way. We also can provide supervision, where many juveniles receive supervised probation instead of going straight to incarceration. However, disparities will always remain. Youth from marginalized communities are more likely to still be incarcerated rather than diverted into all the alternative programs. Several criminal justice policies aim to reduce juvenile crime. One of the policies are Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act, which focuses on reducing youth incarceration and also promoting rehabilitation. We also have the Raise the Age law, where many states have changed the law so that 16 and 17-year-olds are not automatically tried as adults. There's the Restorative Justice Program, which these programs help encourage offenders to make amends with their victims through mediation and also community service. And then we have school-based prevention programs. Programs like DARE and Positive Behavior Intervention Supports help prevent crimes in schools and also help young youths find their way by reaching out to someone they can trust. Now, although these policies show promise, some critics still argue that the justice system will disproportionately affect youth of color. Research on effective juvenile crime prevention suggests that preventing juvenile crime is more effective than punishing the offenders. Some successful strategies can include family-based interventions such as parenting programs and also home visits for the kids. There are education and vocational training, which reduces recidivism. There are after-school programs, which provide instructional activities and mentorship, mental health services, and also substance abuse counseling, which address the underlying risk factors that some of these youths can obtain. And then we have community-based rehabilitation programs, which help juveniles reintegrate into society to help them become a better adult. A study by Lipsy in 2020 found that rehabilitation programs can reduce recidivism rates by 20 to 30% compared to incarceration. Challenges in addressing juvenile crime. Despite the efforts, several challenges are still going to remain up to date. Incarceration of minority youth, racial disparities persist still today in the justice system. Lack of funding or rehabilitation programs. Many communities still lack the resources needed to help young youth. We also have repeat offenders. Some juveniles still struggle to reintegrate and reoffend. Unfortunately, sometimes these programs do not help. There's also the debate over punishment versus rehabilitation. Policymakers disagree on the best approach. which then again make the youth have disparities on their rehabilitation. Addressing these challenges require a balanced approach of accountability and support from the community and their families. In conclusion, juvenile crime remains a complex issue influenced by social, economic, and psychological factors. While crime rates have declined, disparities in the justice system and challenges in rehabilitation still persist. To make a lasting change, we must invest in the prevention programs, promote rehabilitation over incarceration, and also ensure fair treatment for all youth, regardless of their background or color. By working together, families, school, communities, and policymakers, we can create a system that effectively prevents and reduces juvenile crime. Thank you for your time.